Good morning. Welcome to Books at the Bottom of the Stairs. My name's Lorene. I've decided to do the video today in the storm porch because the sunshine is just so beautiful and who knows how long that will last. So we can go to artificial lighting in all of the winter, but for now let's just go with the light that the sun intended. Do you ever get grumpy about your reading? I am feeling kind of super grumpy about my reading right now. It's like for a variety of reasons, and I'll start with the thing that grumps me up the most. And here we go. Tina, I have a rule in my reading life that I will not read a series unless it's all the way completed, and that has meant that I've missed out on a few series because I've just lost track of things. So whether it's for middle readers or for adults, fantasy, or I didn't really get into the Diana Gabaldon group of books, but anything, I just want it to be done because if I love it, I want to just keep going. And I don't want to wait X number of years to find out that the middle book sucks and the ending is dreary. I just want to experience it all. And so, against my better judgment, because everybody was going on and on about this when it first came out, is the Hollowpox part of the Nevermore series. This is book 1. It's by Jessica Townsend. The Hunt for Morrigan Crow. I loved it. It's quite, it's a big one. It's for middle readers, and I just really thoroughly enjoyed this one. It has a lot of the ingredients that I get a kick out of, a sort of an underdog main character and a group of friends that make up for a dysfunctional family. I like the school setting. I like the discovery of magic and the discovery of an individual's grasp of their own powers and confidence. I like that. I like when there's kooky characters in the background, and here her sort of guardian, if you like, is a very eccentric wizard who has secret service to their government, but there's also a giant cat that is, I guess, sort of a guardian parent cat. And who also likes naps. It all takes place in a hotel, which is a really nice, interesting. No, I'm sorry. She lives in a hotel, but there is a school off-site, but there's underground trains. I mean, the setting is just super duper cool. So I loved book 1. Then book 2, I was equally thrilled. The Trials of Morrigan Crow. Obviously, there's going to be some kind of fun going on. And book 2 was a hoot. Book 3, it had a little bit of a slowdown for me. In book 3, there was, and I think this is part of the problem with a lot of trilogies, is you've already established the world, you've already established the magical fantasy system, whatever it is. The character has encountered all of their initial dilemmas, there's a friendship group now, or there's an estrangement from a friendship group, whatever the case is. So book 3 tends to have some expected things that will happen, and in most series it will be the wrap-up. Well, in this group of books, the Nevermore series, it doesn't wrap up in book 3. It wraps up, I think, in book 4. So I was on board with it. I called the third one is called The Calling of Morrigan Crow, which is where she's really, struggling between the good guys and the bad guys. Well, okay, book 4. I wasn't going to get book 3 because I thought, I should wait till book 4. Well, book 4 was supposed to come out this fall in hardcover, and I thought, no, these are all in paper. I really like the format. I'm going to have a set. Really want to go for that. And so I thought, well, if it's out in hardcover in the fall, then I can put my name on hold for the softcover. Well, if they haven't changed the dates several times. So the way I understand it now is that the hardcover is coming out in 2024. This is in Canada, North America. And the softcover is not going to come out until October of 2025. What? I'm so grumpy about this. I do not like having to go back to the beginning of a book a series, in order to refresh my memory. And I'm feeling like that's going to happen if I have to wait till 2025. I could be dead. You know, it's not like I'm a young kid moving on into puberty. No, I could be dead. They need to get a better grip on how they produce these series. Now, from an author's point of view, I understand that's got to be over 3,000 pages when you think about the edits and the cuts and the whatever. So she's really worked very, very hard on this. No problem with with Jessica Townsend, but with the publishers, why don't they just get it together? So not only am I potentially dead and therefore not a reader purchasing their book, no sale, but the kids are also going to have aged out of this, and there isn't the marketing hype anymore around introducing new characters. So then I think, new characters, new readers. So then I think, well, are they even going to do book 4? Like, from an economic point of view, isn't it kind of a lost moneymaker? I'm just so annoyed. Right, which brings me to my next annoyance. I had a huge book pile that I was getting from the library, and they were books that had been on my to-do list for zonky years. I just was slowly getting through, feeling a sense of accomplished. That meant that I was like up to September. And this was clearing out 2020 and 2021. I haven't really, no, I think I'm telling you a lie. I haven't really dealt with 2021 yet in terms of backlog. So I would like to get to the end of this year with just 2021 on the still to do list. I don't really think of the current year as on my to-do list, because 9 times out of 10 the library hasn't got them in yet, or they're still in hardcover and I'm not interested in buying a hardcover. So I don't really worry about being 12 months behind. But these ones were both books that I waited and waited for. The first one is Stone River Crossing by Tim Tingle. Like I say in the past, I don't really remember why something's on my to-do list. I just make an assumption that it has either been really well recommended to me, or I have really looked at the review and enjoyed what I'm seeing, or in the case of this other one, Stand on the Sky by Erin Bow, an author that I really enjoy. I love Erin Bow. I think I've read everything that she has out there, and this was the only one outstanding. It's called Stand on the Sky, and it's about a young girl in Kazakhstan, and she manages to rescue a baby eagle, and girls are not supposed to fly eagles. The idea is great, the setting is great, the young lady is very interesting, her family dynamic is kind of interesting, but it's just unlike Erin Bow's other book. It's very much a story on the surface, and because I'm comparing this book to other Erin Bow books, I'm completely dissatisfied. I feel that it's a book that isn't really looking deeper. I wonder if because I enjoyed the other ones too much, I haven't been able to give this one credit. Maybe am I being too much an adult? It's meant to be a middle reader. I think that's a younger middle reader who's encountering this book for the first time would be pretty gung-ho on it. There's just a lot of cool stuff happening, but gosh by darn, I didn't finish it. I just left it halfway through. I thought I can predict the ending pretty much from the beginning. I could predict where we were going to go. I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but I was unsurprised by everything and just thought, too bad for me. But then this one, Tim Tingle, The Stone River Crossing, is a very interesting premise. There's a young enslaved black boy on one side of the river, and then there's the, pretty sure it is the Choctaw Nation on the other side of a river, and they are emancipated. They've got farms and villages, and this is before any kind of incursions into their lands are taking place. They're kind of at balance with the white people previous to enslavement. The Choctaw would have been the enslaved, and so by having the black folks there, they've essentially achieved freedom. So there's a secret path across the river, and the young boy, what's his name? Milo, Little Mo, crosses the river and comes across Martha Tom, who is the Choctaw girl. So cool idea, crossing the river. They're going back and forth. The attention is around not getting caught. When she's on the one side, if she's there, she will just be absorbed up into the enslaved people's situation. If he is on the other side, he's a runaway, and there's all kinds of consequences for that. I was really looking forward to this one. The tone, I haven't seen this happen in a long time, but do you ever get someone who's sort of in their 70s and then they're talking down to a 6-year-old or a 10-year-old, and it's like there's such a divide between communications, and the kid is sitting there looking up at that older person just thinking, what are they trying to say? And the old person is, oh, aren't you a good boy? What are you doing? Do you like baseball? It's just so patronizing and superficial, and I felt this book was entirely written on vinyl. You could see through, in the sense that you knew what was going to come, but there was no depth of exploration, and so sad to put this one away. I wanted so much more and didn't get it. Well, then the other crazy thing, which is kind of a positive, I have to put on Cheryl's glasses and go, what can we learn from this? We can learn that despite having collected nonfiction title books for 12 or 18 months, and discovering that I am a bad note taker, should be an impetus for me to remember to write down the authors' names, spell the authors' names correctly, write down the title in full, put in brackets whether it's fiction or nonfiction, and then do the extra step of going to the library or Goodreads or what have you and double checking. So this is not the only book I have. I've got another book that's similar in size and from 3 or 4 previous years. So I was scanning through all my lists of my recommendations and checking to see, looking for nonfiction books. Well, if I didn't do all those mistakes, I don't know how many authors I neglected to include. This is partly because some people, when they do a book review, they don't link it in the bottom. Like when I used my computer, I would link the title and the author, but now that I'm using my mystery device, I don't know if it's an iPad or an iPid or an iPoo-poo, I don't know, but it's like I cannot figure out how to add that information in, how to cut and paste and get it there. I need a tutorial, but anyhow, so I have not done that piece on the sidebar where you can link to the author through the internet, which is one of the reasons I try to hold it up very close to the camera so that you've got plenty of time to read and copy it yourself. But there are people who do book reviews and they're like moving the book all around and you're trying to capture it and you stop and you pause and you stop and you pause and they don't put it down below, and so consequently I've just been kind of guessing and not going to the final step of trying to check it up on Goodreads or something to see if it actually exists or if I'm just having some kind of hallucinogenic experience with my BookTube reviewers. So consequently, of the about 12 books in nonfiction that I was searching for, because we must remember Nonfiction November is coming up next month, and I was trying to get a head start, of those 12-ish, at least 4 turned out to be fiction. And the one I'm most disappointed about was the 6 Tudor Wives by Alison Weir. And I swear to you up and down, I swear that that was a nonfiction thing. I thought, oh, how cool is that? There's someone has done an upgraded biography of the six wives, and it looks really interesting. It's 100% fiction. And I've been holding off, thinking, oh, that's going to be great for November instead of waiting. Impulse buying. There was another one that was fiction. It's not on this list. Then there's at least two that sort of don't exist on Amazon. That's where I kind of check out to make sure if something's actually in the published world, so then I can go to my local book guy and ask them to order it in. So I double check and sometimes get the ISBN number. But Lady from the Black Lagoon by Mallory O'Meara is not available anywhere. And that was only reviewed 12 months ago. Now that one sounded so cool because she, as the only female designer in whatever studio she worked for, Warner Brothers or whatever, she was the person who came up with the crazy ass costumes that the monsters would wear. So she did the monster from the Black Lagoon's costume, and I don't know whether she did the Blob, is that even a costume, but she did a lot of monster costume design. I thought that would be really cool, but no. And what was the other one? Yeah, I guess the other ones, I have found some, so I'm starting to look at a few, and I'm going to order them from the bookstore and just splurge and buy these books because I don't want to rely on the library. But I'm looking at Meadowland by John Lewis Stemple, which is nature writing in England. And I've heard quite a lot of good about his writing as an author. And Meadowland is a year in the life of a meadow. And I thought, oh, okay, that could be kind of relaxing. Then there's From Here to Eternity by Caitlin Doherty. Now, she's got two other books out, Will the Cats Eat My Eyeballs? And I can't remember what the third one was. Anyhow, she's this really great woman in California who's in the funeral industry, and she's demystifying and exposing all kinds of things around the funeral industry. She has a funeral home herself, and she's done some really cool stuff on YouTube if you're looking for stuff, like for instance, she did a whole thing on the plague in San Francisco in the 1800s. And then she did another one about a plane that crashed in the Andes. It was really big. I even remember it sort of in the 70s, 80s, where this soccer team was in the Andes and cannibalism. So she picks these moments, John F. Kennedy's closed casket. So she picks these moments in funeral history and just talks about them again. And she's got her sarcastic side, but I really enjoy those YouTube ones. So I thought I think I'm going to get one of her books. And the one where does a cat eat my eyeballs? I'm not sure about that so much, but From Here to Eternity is more of a look at across the world about death and burials and funeral rites and grieving. So that sounded interesting. And the other two I'm looking at from this list is It's Not About the Burqa, which is a series of essay collections by women who do wear the burqa, and I have no idea, just a cool idea. And Overdose by Benjamin Perrin, which is Canadian, and it's looking at the epidemic of drugs across Canada in the last 5 to 10 years, I think, because we were talking about this at the dinner table the other day. The whole world of epidemic has changed so much since fentanyl has come into play, where you will get people overdosing. They think they're taking cocaine, but it's laced with fentanyl. So it just adds in a huge piece to the whole addiction situation and death from overdose and so on. And then we were at the bookstore the other day and came across a book called The Tides of Time, which is a look at Nova Scotian different industries: coal mining, fishing, mushroom collecting, wood sawing or something like that. And so I thought that might be kind of fun. Anyways, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm going to try and figure out how to link to a Book Olive's announcement for the Nonfiction November. It's a really good intro to what this is all about, and she does have some cues if you want some help on, you know, what are you looking for in nonfiction and you don't know where to start. She's got some kind of starting off points, and she will be doing some recommendations herself in the future. So I'm really looking forward to that. I hope it takes me out of my grumpy. Anyhow, that's my stuff for today. I hope you're not as grumpy as I am. I hope it's sunny where you are and that all your reading adventures and dreams continue to come true. Bye-bye for now.